everyone, Pam Gregory, astrologer. I'm going to be speaking to you today about the first half of December and the full moon, full supermoon, in fact, very powerful, that we have in Gemini on the 3rd. Now, we have some very intense energy carrying over from the second half of November. Mars in Libra has been in a square to Pluto, and when you think of assertion or aggression, these are the two planets you think of most frequently, because they are very focused and a lot to do with the assertions of willpower. Now, Mars at the beginning of the month is moving from 25 to 28 of Libra. It's moving away from that tight square to Pluto, but it's moving into an opposition with Uranus and Eris. So we have a loose T-square, if you like. But if you put those planets together of Mars, Pluto, Uranus and Eris, they really are linked to sudden, eruptive, powerful energy, assertive energy. So be very aware of that yourself. That's in the zeitgeist, if you like. It's in the energy field. And be very aware of being mindful during those days and stepping back from any intense situation. Now, we have to think of our leaders with this too, because transiting Mars and Uranus are also making a square to Pluto in the US chart, in the US birth chart, if you like. And here I'm referring to the Sibley chart, which was set up on the 4th of July, 1776 at 5:10 in Philadelphia with the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So Mars and Uranus and Eris indeed are coming into that square to Pluto, and also aspecting Mercury in that US chart. And Mercury in that chart rules the 9th and 11th houses of foreign relations and alliances. So we could see some very assertive words and possibly actions round about that time. So we all contribute. In our collective consciousness, we all contribute to what is manifesting in our world. Every single one of us plays a part. So live in peace. Be mindful, be conscious of whatever is happening if you're feeling any intense energy in those early days of December. But what is wonderful, almost as an antidote to that, is we have some wonderful Neptunian energy happening through this month. Something I mentioned in the last video, we have this beautiful trine between Jupiter and Neptune. It's exact, in fact, on the 3rd of the month when we have the full moon at 11 of Scorpio Pisces, and will run all the way through that trine until August of next year. Now, Jupiter expands whatever it touches, and Neptune is really the planet of spirituality, of miracles, of healing, of oneness, of connecting to the divine. So Jupiter potentially is going to expand all of that. I think of Neptune very much as a fifth dimensional planet, because it really represents where we lose that sense of time and space, whether we're meditating or creating something. We just lose where we are. And it dissolves boundaries in that way. It can give us a sense of timelessness. Now, with Jupiter being able to expand that, this is really going to enable us to shift our consciousness and create more easily from that fifth dimensional reality. It is also likely to expand the healing modalities, because Scorpio and Pisces are very connected to healing. So we may see many more different kinds of healing coming onto the world stage. And also, of course, next year Chiron moves into Aries. Chiron, the wounded healer, moves into the first sign Aries, so we could see some new forms of healing then. And I suspect that the new forms of healing are going to be very linked to vibration and energy for reasons I'm about to come on to. But this trine is absolutely magical and ethereal. So we have it running for a long time. The next piece of the Neptune theme is something I've mentioned earlier, and I've written a great deal about in my books, particularly my re-edited first book. And this is the semi-square between Uranus and Neptune. Now, Uranus represents vibration, frequency. Neptune is this sense of divinity or oneness or connection to source. So in combination, this can again help us connect to source. It can help us shift our energies, shift our spiritual state. If you think of Uranus as very high vibrational frequency, it's actually known as the mind of God. It's the higher octave of Mercury, where it's really connecting to your superconscious and beyond. So we can get fabulous insights in this combination of Uranus and Neptune. So we may see, and we're seeing them already, new technological devices, Uranus, to help us achieve bliss, Neptune, help us achieve altered states, help us achieve sleep, Neptune. And it really will help to accelerate our spiritual progress. And I think we're going to see abilities which up to now have been considered beyond the normal, like channeling and telepathy, to really become much more part of who we are, integrated as beyond normal beings, if you like, because I really think our evolutionary capacity is really going to leap in the next few years. I think with this aspect, this Uranus-Neptune aspect, we may also see much greater sensitivity, Neptune, to electromagnetic frequencies, Uranus. Uranus is connected to internet, Wi-Fi, all of those devices. So we already know that anywhere between 10 to 20% of the population is very sensitive to electromagnetic frequencies. That, I suspect, with this aspect is going to grow, or the awareness of it is going to grow. However, having said that, I also feel that the technological devices, Uranus, that can help us desensitize are also part of this symbolic picture. There's some interesting devices coming on the market, one of which can actually make the human being invisible, Neptune, to the EMFs. So this aspect is working in many, many manifestations. It's really fascinating. It's quite polarized in that it's going to see the acceleration of digitization and electrification in our world, but equally ways to neutralize the effect on us as human beings. So just watch how that works, because it's absolutely fascinating. And Uranus, I believe, is also connected to magnetism. We're going to become much more aware of the magnetism of the Earth and its healing power too. But I've written about more of the manifestations of this, not only in my monthly newsletter coming out in December, but also, as I say, in both of my books. So then we have a really powerful full supermoon, which is happening at 11 degrees 40 minutes of Gemini on the 3rd of December. It's happening at 7:46 a.m. Pacific and 3:46 p.m. UK time. Now, always when we have a full moon, emotions tend to be heightened, feelings rise, particularly at a supermoon, because it means that the moon is very close in its orbit to the Earth. So this can also exert an extra strong gravitational pull on the Earth, its tectonic plates, its tides, so we have to be aware of Earth shifts at this point, and also a stronger than average effect on our psyches. It's going to be very strong. So firstly, see where 11 degrees 40 of Gemini falls in your chart, because that can be an area where things can be revealed, as always, at a full moon, or where things are coming to fruition or culmination or closure for you. But we're back to our Neptunian theme again, because at a full moon, we always have the sun and the moon opposite each other. Here, we have both the sun and the moon almost exactly squared by Neptune. It's only 10 minutes of arc away from exactitude. So a very strong Neptunian theme at this full supermoon too. Now, Gemini is normally the sign of logic and rationality. However, Neptune is likely to dissolve that and bring in our imagination, our intuition, and our creativity and our sensitivity. So this is going to be a very, very creative full supermoon. Wonderful time for you to create, to write, because Gemini is connected to writing, to paint, to draw, to write music, whatever. you love to do, or just listen to music, to be in that altered state, that altered Neptunian state of bliss. It's going to be very interesting, this full supermoon, because as background, we're aware that we have Jupiter that moved into Scorpio on the 24th of October and will stay there till November next year. And we anticipated that that would bring about the revelation around sexual secrets, Scorpio, investment secrets, tax secrets of the rich and the powerful. The last full supermoon we had on the 4th of November was in Taurus, which is to do with wealth. That is exactly the time that the so-called Paradise Papers were revealed. Again, a revelation, very important revelation at a full moon to do with wealth, but also to do with secrets about taxes and investments being revealed. Now, this full supermoon, this is in Gemini, could be about communication or secret communication that is going to be revealed, emails, that sort of thing. Neptune, in its less positive sense, is to do with secrets and to do with deception, things not being as they seem. So that's going to be really fascinating to see what unfolds at this time. It's important to say that Neptune is also linked to drugs and addictions. So I'm aware in the US there's an opioid crisis, there's talk of legalizing cannabis. You know, those could be issues that are coming to the fore. But certainly deception being revealed is a strong possibility at this full supermoon. So the other thing, continuing this theme that's very important about connecting us to a higher level, is for the first week of December, Saturn is conjunct the galactic centre. The galactic centre is at 26 degrees of Sagittarius, and as I've mentioned before, is a huge powerhouse, a huge vortex of cosmic radiation and very high-level information for us. Now, when a planet aligns with it, that is when we can tap into that high-level information more easily. So Saturn is there for the first week. And if you want to know more about the galactic centre, I'd refer you to a really excellent academic astrologer called Philip Sedgwick, philipsedgwick.com. He's researched and written a great deal about the galactic centre. And he says when a planet aligns with it, it carries with it a tone of conscious evolution. So again, the potential for our consciousness to shift and upgrade. Not only that, but Mercury is stationary retrograde on the 3rd of the month, the same day as the full supermoon. And it's doing that at 29 of Sagittarius. Now, so again, it's conjunct the galactic centre. In fact, it's exactly conjunct the galactic centre on the 7th and 8th of December. And because it's conjunct Saturn as well, we may find that anywhere up to about the 8th of the month, there could be some important galactic centre, but serious Saturn news, Mercury, coming out that's very important for the world. So we'll wait and see what that reveals. But Mercury is starting to move retrograde from 29 of Sagittarius back to 13 of Sagittarius by the 23rd of December. So it's those 3 weeks it's going to be retrograde. Now, because it's stationary at 29 of Sagittarius, that is the critical degree of Sagittarius. So it emphasises the qualities of that sign. Now, Sagittarius is about higher consciousness. It's about wisdom. It's about meaning. And when we have Mercury retrograde, as always, look to where that's falling in your chart, the second half of Sagittarius, because Mercury retrograde encourages us to redo, rethink, reevaluate, research, whatever that area represents. I mean, is it falling in the second house of your chart? Or are you reevaluating your finances, for instance? That's how that works. But there's a deeper level to this, because Sagittarius is so connected to meaning and wisdom. And what I feel this is about is giving us a really important opportunity to go back over the events of our life and see them without the emotional charge that we felt at the time, but give them positive meaning. That's how we achieve wisdom in our life. So it becomes the hero's journey. And the more challenging the events in your life have been, the more I recommend you go through that in those 3 weeks. That you see yourself not as the victim of circumstance, but as the hero who have triumphed in your life. It's the hero's journey. So it's a really beautiful opportunity to do that. So if you'd like more information about what I've been saying about that, I've written quite a lot about that in my new book, How to Co-Create Using the Secret Language of the Universe. So that's happening, Mercury retrograde, from the 3rd to the 23rd of the month. Another beautiful opportunity for our shift of consciousness is that this full supermoon is conjunct the fixed royal star Aldebaran, which is at 9 of Gemini. Now, Aldebaran is very connected to inner wisdom, inner sight, yet again. It's also linked to St. Michael. St. Michael, who protects us, the archangel of protection. So, you know, some beautiful connections coming in here that we can really tune into. Exquisite opportunities. You know, we can use the energies this month to focus on Mars, Pluto, Uranus, Eris, the very assertive, intense energies, or we can choose to put our focus somewhere else. These other opportunities for our consciousness upgrade, if you want to call it that. We choose where to focus, where to put our energy, and we always have that choice available to us. And I've written a great deal, particularly in my first book, about this, that your birth chart gives you your pattern. It does not give you your level. Your level, that we have latitude in choosing how we play our music. And I'm trying to really reference that in this first half of December, but a great deal more about that in my first book. And then finally, the last thing I want to talk about in this first half of December is on the 5th of December, Chiron becomes stationary direct at 24 of Pisces, tightly squaring Mercury and Saturn in Sagittarius. Now, this to me, Chiron is the planet of, or the asteroid of the wounded healer. It's very much about our own sense of wounding, and that in your birth chart will be, by sign and by house, will be shown to you. And it can be a physical wound, as it was with Chiron in the myth, if you read the myth online. It can be an emotional or a psychological wound, but what this aspect in early December is really saying is that our wounds can be our teachers. If you have any wound and that's taken you on quite a journey in your life to meet different kinds of people, to experience different kinds of healing, that may have taken you on a much deeper pathway than you otherwise would have sought if you hadn't had that wound. So our wounds can be our greatest teacher, and it's often in accepting our wounds that again we can shift our level. And the reason I say shift level is the fact that Chiron orbits between Saturn and Uranus. Saturn I think of as our third dimension, very tangible and solid, rules things like walls and rocks and boundaries. Uranus I think of as fourth dimension, and Chiron is orbiting between the two, so allowing us again to pull in higher level information in our journey of healing our wounds and accepting them and going beyond them. So some really wonderful opportunities coming up in this first half. I'm also going to be talking in the second half of December in the video for that about Saturn's shift into Capricorn, which is incredibly important and very powerful. I'm talking about that a lot. But in the meantime, if you'd like more information about my monthly newsletters, which link the prevailing astrology to global events to help you learn, and they're quite detailed, 5,000 to 6,000 words each time. You can just subscribe on my website, or any more information you'd like on my books or my tutorial videos, you can just check out my website, pamgregory.com, and you'll find it all there. Thanks so much for listening, and have a spectacular full supermoon in Gemini on the 3rd. Bye for now.